Alright, school tag time. So, for those who have no idea what I'm about to go on about, I was recently tagged in an open school tag by a fellow Kiwi YouTuber, that's Casey Project. I'll be putting a link for her channel down in the description down there. So, it's a school tag, so I have to talk about my school life, some of the interesting things that have gone on. But anyway, let's go. Let's start. Anyway, first question, what schools did you go to? Well, I've been to quite a few schools in my lifetime. The first school I ever went to was called Balaclava School, and that was in Dunedin. I only went there for 1 year, so unfortunately I don't have any really interesting memories of that place. And then, at the end of that year, because of my parents' job with the Salvation Army, we moved up to Whangarei, and I went to Whangarei Primary School. So I went there for 6 years, and I quite enjoyed my time there. I was the best speller in the class. I was always writing stories. One of the things, during the time I was at Whangarei Primary School, I became a huge Star Wars fan. And I started writing stories about Star Wars all the time, and then all of a sudden my teachers just said, "Liam, you need to stop writing Star Wars stories." And I was like, ugh. In fact, it got so bad, one of my teachers had to start picking topics to write about for me, which I thought was stifling my creativity, but hey, if that's what they wanted, that's what they wanted. One of the other things about primary school at Whangarei Primary, at playtimes there was this huge field, and just by the field, this huge line of trees and picnic tables, a nice place to eat your lunch or rest from a game of football or soccer or rugby. Oh wait, football and soccer are the same things. Anyway, there was one tree that I usually hung out at, and I called it the Witch's Tree. The Witch's Tree was a pretty interesting tree. I mean, it just looked like a regular tree, but around its roots, it had a sort of like a shallow pit. And sometimes me and my friends would go there and we would pretend to mix up witches' potions using whatever we could find. We used dirt, we used flower heads, there used to be some berries that would grow in the summer and would fall on the ground, and we would get a stick, mash them into a paste. Let's see. Sometimes we would get acorns that had fallen on the ground. I would break them open with my teeth and put them in, mash them in. And of course we would add water from the nearby water fountain. I never drank them though. I mean, yuck. I don't think I would want to eat all that dirt and berry and bleh, nasty stuff. Well, at the end of my 6-year time in Whangarei Primary, I went to Monrad Intermediate School in Palmerston North, where I stayed for about 2 years. My 2 years at Monrad were pretty cool. Well, during both my years at Monrad Intermediate, I was in the CWSA class, so I was one of those kids with special abilities. I'm not sure what my special abilities were, but that's just my cat. It was also there that I met one of my really good friends, Jake Godfrey. He's posted some videos on the channel a few times before. We're both really into gaming. He's also one of the smartest people I've ever met. I'd possibly say he's the next to Albert Einstein. He's a wonderful guy. And then, at the beginning of year 8, I came to school, and everyone, and that was the beginning of a year of change for me. I came to school that year with a bright green fringe which I had gotten dyed at Parachute. Everyone was going like, Liam, what did you do to your hair? Why is it green? Where did you get it? Yeah, I mean, it seemed like a good idea to me to dye my fringe a bright green, but I don't think I'd ever do that again. Not even if I was trying to dress up like the Joker. Later that year, I became a member of the student council for my classroom. That, of course, was my first position in the school hierarchy. I really enjoyed it. People really liked me. That year was also a year which I wasn't bullied that much. I get bullied a lot at school, and sometimes I do at the school I'm currently attending. Well, anyway, after Monrad, I spent 1 year at Awatapu College, which coincidentally was just a short walk away from Monrad Intermediate. Jake and I continued to develop our friendship. We both worked hard towards achieving our goals. Well, I really enjoyed my time there. And currently I am at Linfield. Second question, who was my favourite teacher? Alright, I'm going to have to cheat a little bit on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a favourite teacher from every single one of my schools. Except Balaclava, which I have little memory of. At Whangarei Primary School it was Mr. Ruddle. Mr. Ruddle was my third and fourth year teacher. He took over from my old teacher, Mrs. Walker, because she had gone on maternity leave. Mrs. Walker... anyway, Mr. Ruddle was a really good teacher. He was a bit of a sci-fi nerd as well. He liked Doctor Who and Star Wars, so friends! And he developed a friendship with my mother, who was friends with his partner. Now, that was good in some ways and bad in some others. In good ways, we got to grow closer as more than just student and teacher. We played a lot of Battlefront together. They would come over to our place for dinner. We went there for dinner on one occasion. One of the bad things was that whenever I got in trouble, Mr. Ruddle would tell my mother. I cannot begin to tell you how many times Mum came into my room or something like that and was like, "Tell me about so-and-so." Mr. Ruddle even told my mother about me having to go on a step outside the staff room because I was trying to protect myself from an attack. Anyway, at Monrad Intermediate School I had one teacher, Miss Coenders. Miss Coenders was a pretty good teacher. One of the things about her, she believes in the Easter Bunny. I'm not kidding, she really believes in the Easter Bunny. She told the class a story of why she believes. Apparently, the day before Easter Sunday, she looked out the window and saw a giant bunny hopping around hiding chocolates. And so Miss Coenders ran outside, ran to her parents' room and told them that she'd seen the Easter Bunny, and both of them were there. So, since she believes it wasn't her parents, then it must have really been the Easter Bunny. I think they just paid someone to dress up like the Easter Bunny and do it. Well, Miss Coenders was a pretty good teacher, and we had some student teachers around as well. Mr. Smith, of course. We had a teacher called Mr. Smith. He also became close to my family. The day I met him, it turns out he had gone to Parachute as well, and that year Switchfoot, a band he really liked, had been playing, and I told him about how my brother got to meet the band that year, and that John Foreman, their lead singer, wore his hat on stage. So he really liked that, and Whenever I brought up my brother, he would call him Matt with the awesome hat. He was a really nice guy. Really miss him though. At Awatapu College, I'm not quite sure who my favourite teacher was. I'm tossing between Mr. Riker, my social studies teacher and my form teacher, or Mrs. Bothwell, my English teacher. Mrs. Bothwell had a great sense of humour, which I'm gonna go over very soon. And Mr. Riker, he was a really good teacher as well. He pushed me to do my hardest. A while later we started sending each other quizzes on the Second World War to increase my knowledge. It's strange, he stopped there. He still hasn't done my latest quiz. Yeah. Then again, I haven't seen him since I left Palmy. Mrs. Bothwell was hilarious. She was one of the funniest teachers in my year. Justin Bieber was, of course, a big thing with the ladies. She hated Justin Bieber. At any point in time, she would just make an insult about Justin Bieber. For example, I think I can remember we had to do posters advertising a music concert in the Awatapu College auditorium. And she told us, "Class, if any of you do Justin Bieber, you will get an instant not achieved." And I'm not trying to be racist here. I was just trying to do her voice. I'm not trying to be racist or offensive. So, no offense meant. And of course the anti-Justin Bieber humour kept spreading throughout the class. There was this one time when we had to do 1-minute talks in preparation for our speech. And my friend Paige came up, and she talked about the worst movie she ever saw. And that, of course, was Justin Bieber's Never Say Never. And she started going on about how her friend made her see it, and she started going, "If I see that movie again, I will die." That is literally what she said. She said she would die if she saw Justin Bieber's Never Say Never ever again. And I don't blame her. I don't even want to watch it once. I've never seen it, and I never want to. And then, strangely after that, one of my other friends came up and said that Justin Bieber's Never Say Never was the best movie she ever saw. Irony. One of the other things about Mrs. Bothwell, she had a habit of doing some strange dances. Whenever we did something musical, like looking up songs as poetry, or looking up songs of nouns and adjectives and things like that, she would sometimes be in the corner just doing this weird dance and with this weird smirk, and everyone would just crack up laughing. I remember there was this noun song and she was like... It was just hilarious. I mean, honestly, it's not every day that you see a teacher doing a weird dance in the corner as she displays a video as part of a lesson.